I'm in Dubai at the moment on a filming job, but I thought I'd just make a quick video to share some of the things that are going on, because 2018 for me is looking like a pretty exciting year and lots of things are changing. I think I've said it on this channel before, but for the last at least 6 or 7 years, the bulk of my photography work has been as a full-time in-house employee for different companies. I worked for a company that sells really fancy kitchenware as their food and product photographer. I worked for a company that sells a lot of furniture and lifestyle stuff, and I was their product photographer and shot for their online magazine as well. And for the last probably 18 months, I was working for a company which was a big international consulting firm, and I headed up the photography and video for Europe, Middle East and Africa. But I resigned from that job in December of last year to work for myself. Now, I've freelanced before, and to be honest, it was a really mixed bag. I mean, this was back in South Africa, where admittedly there was a lot less work to go around, but I still wasn't very good at going out and getting my share of it. So I had to wait tables in a lot of the dry months just to be able to supplement my income and to be able to pay the bills. So there's that fear in the back of my head of, can I make this work? And those of you who've dropped a full-time salary, that safety net to go and work for yourself and it's very uncertain, will know the kind of fear that sits in the back of your head. But it is what I want to do. I mean, if I can make the stuff that I love to do, the stuff that I get paid for, and do that on my own terms, I mean, that's the dream. So I do want to risk for this, and it feels like now's the right time to do that. And if it doesn't work, at least I can say I tried. So what does that mean for this channel? You might be assuming that means a lot more videos, a lot more regularly, but in all honesty, it probably doesn't mean that. It'll still probably be only 1 or 2 a month. And the reason for that is I made a deal with myself when I started this channel that I was going to make the sort of films that I wanted to see and that I often struggle to find on YouTube. And the fact is that they just take longer to make. And not just because they take longer to film sometimes or edit, but because I have to write these. I mean, you might not know this, but when I put a video together, I've written everything out before I turn a camera on. And not so that I can read word for word or remember, but just so that I can flesh all the ideas out that I want to talk about and make sure that they're fresh enough and rich enough that it's worth your time to even bother watching. I really respect people, I'm not just saying this, who can pick up a vlogging camera every day, turn it on, react to their daily lives and make compelling content. And a lot of people do that really well, but that's not me and that's not really what I want to do. And if that hurts anyone, it hurts me the most. I mean, now that I'm going freelance, if I want YouTube to make money for me, the way to do that is to put out a lot more content. The more videos I put out, the more potential viewers and views and the more potential ad revenue I make. That's how you do this. But I also know that if I take the content that I have to give and spread it out and sort of dilute it down and put out a lot more lackluster content just to feed the algorithm and make some cash, that I'm selling out on that vision that I had up front, and I'm not willing to give it up that easily. I'm really lucky this year in that I've picked up a contract for the whole year for video work that isn't going to take up a ton of time, but does help to sort of give me a little bit of a financial cushion to get me through. And that's just given me a marker to say that for this year, I'm going to see if I can build out for the rest of the time a business which I love, doing the stuff that I love. And for me specifically, that is teaching and inspiring creatives and hopefully building some sort of community around that. So to that end, these are some of the things I want to try. Live stream Q&As. I'll do them at different times so that it suits different time zones, but hopefully once every 2 or 3 months, I'd love to do a live stream Q&A where I can have more immediate interaction with you, asking some of the questions that you have. Then I want to do group critiques, hopefully through something like Google Hangouts, where we have a limited number of people, 12 to maybe 15, and we spend 60 to 90 minutes of each other, and each of us shares one photograph we've taken recently or that we're working on, and the group can then critique that, give us some advice and maybe some ways to move forward. And I'm not going to be the expert in that group. I'm going to be the same as everybody else. I'm happy to facilitate it, but I'd love it to be a conversation between us all instead of me just talking all the time. I also want to offer talks. I've just taken on an agent for this, which is very exciting. If you go to my website, her details are there. If you'd like to book me for a talk somewhere, at an event or your photo club or whatever it happens to be, she's the person to get hold of, and I'm definitely going to be building that more into what I do this year. I'm also going to be offering 1 hour Skype mentoring sessions, which you can book with me. We can sit for that hour and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. It might be reviewing your images and your portfolio in general, or your website, or your films, or your strategy in terms of producing the content, or your creative process, or maybe just life in general. You can use that time however you choose. And then I'm also going to be offering one-on-one personal training. I'm based in London most of the time, so that's going to be the most convenient place, but this video job that I have for the year is going to have me traveling a lot. So I'll let you know when I'm traveling to different cities, and you can pick me up for 4 hours, morning, afternoon, doesn't matter, and we can use that time to do whatever you want to do. If you want training in street photography, we can walk around together and shoot, and then hit a coffee shop afterwards to edit together, or we could head outside the city to do some landscape if that's what you want to work on, or we could hire a model and we could go to a park and I can teach you how to shoot portraits as well. Whatever you want to work on, we can spend the time doing that. There are also 2 workshops I'm working on. I will let you know when they're ready. I'm busy writing them at the moment. One is a 3-day high-end studio portrait workshop, and the other is a workshop on street photography or travel photography, just a 2-day. And both of those I'll be able to travel. I'll probably run them initially in London, but I can take them around as well, and I'll let you know when those are ready to book for. And then I'm putting together a store on my website where you can book some of these things. And then I've got 2 physical products which I'm going to be selling as well. One is going to be sets of A4 black and white prints that will be themed. You might pick up a pack of street photography prints, or architecture, or the desert in Namibia, or whatever they happen to be. But I've done some testing on this, and it's a beautiful Hahnemuller photo rag paper that holds an incredible amount of detail for black and white, but also has a very kind of light cotton texture to it. They're stunning prints. So I'm going to be selling those from my website. I'll let you know when they're available. And the last thing is I've put together 90 of my favorite images from last year, and I'm hoping to do this every year. There will be 45 black and white, 45 color, and just peppered throughout the book as well will be quotes from some of the videos that I put out that year as well. And that will be available square format, 21 by 21 centimeters on a beautiful, rich, uncoated paper stock. So all those will be available on my store, and that store should be available by the end of the month. And those are some practical ways that you can support what I'm trying to do. A few of you have gotten hold of me via messages and comments on videos to say, put a Patreon page together so we can support you. And I really appreciate the sentiment. I've had mixed feelings about Patreon up until recently, to be honest. But I sat down with friends of mine the other day who use it, and they swear by it. They say it's a great way to give your audience a way to support you in what you're doing, but also to create an online community around what you do. So I'm busy putting a page together, and I'll let you know when that's live. For those of you who don't know what Patreon is, it's just a website that takes a very old idea and brings it into the modern era. And it's the idea of the patron. So in the Renaissance, you might have a painter who didn't have time to paint as much as he wanted because he had to go to work to feed his family. So maybe a wealthy merchant would come along and say, I really love what you're doing. I'm going to pay your bills so that you can create more of the art that I love to see. And Patreon does that by crowdfunding, so people who want to support can jump on and just give a little bit, and hopefully that adds up to enough that it gives some time back to the artist to create more of the work that they want to see. I'll be offering rewards like a lot of the things I've already mentioned: early access to workshops, access to the group critiques, things like free prints and free books, and also free mentoring sessions, the one-on-one Skype mentoring sessions as well. So keep an eye out for that. I'll let you know when it's live. If you don't want to support financially though, that is absolutely fine. These videos will be here for you. I'm going to keep making them because I love to make these. So I don't do this for the money. They'll keep coming and they'll always be free to watch. And if you want to support me in a different way, I would really appreciate you helping me get the word out. It might be friends or family or your community at large that you think would really get a kick out of this content. Please help me by sending links to them and spreading the word around. Or maybe you know of publications or blogs or podcasts that you think would really get a kick out of this content. Send them a message, send them an email, and let them know. For me, I'm really playing the long game, and every recommendation goes a long way towards helping me build something in the long term. So those are the things that are coming up, and I'll let you know when everything's live. But I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you so much for your support over the last 18 months. To be honest, when I started this YouTube channel, knowing that YouTube loves a hyped up, ramped up presentation style, and that I wanted to strike a more sober, sort of slow-paced, philosophical tone, I assumed this channel would be a very niche little thing in a corner. But as of today, 18 months down the track, it's approaching 85,000 subscribers, and I cannot thank you enough for that. I mean, putting myself out there a little bit, being honest and being vulnerable with you about the struggles as well as the successes is a scary thing to do. But the fact that you've all got on in the comments and gone, yes, us too, and thank you for sharing that, it's refreshing to hear someone be honest about the messiness of the journey, just convinces me that I'm doing the right thing. So I'm going to jealously protect this channel and the tone of it especially. And thank you all for being along for the ride.